evening, everybody. Welcome to Late Night Magic. I am Gene FitzMagic, joined as always with my late night compañero, Piano Rob. What's up, my man?
Not much, Gene. What's going on? It's August.
Oh, man. It's August. It's August, and it's the eve of a very big day for a good friend of the show. We've had him on different shows. This is the third time that I've actually dealt with or spoken with our guest today. Guys, composer, phenomenal film composer. Dominic Lewis is in the house. We've had him on before with Kingsman. We were somewhere else. I've had him on the audio podcast. I remember speaking to him on the audio podcast when Bullet Train wasn't Bullet Train. Like, it was like, there's this thing I got coming out way later. I can't talk about it. And here we are. We're talking Bullet Train, man, which, if you've seen any of the coming attractions of this film, look intense, look phenomenal. I can't wait to see it. At first when I saw the ads, it has a very, and I know he didn't do it. Antoine Fuqua was the producer on it, but it had a very I'm blanking on the director's name. Who's the director of Pulp Fiction? Tarantino. It had a very Tarantino vibe because I know he does like a lot of that kung fu and stuff, but but it looks phenomenal. I can't wait. I can't wait to go see it. It's actually going to be my first film in theaters since pre-COVID. I haven't been in a theater yet.
You blew my mind. Now, see, Gene, I know you've been in New York now a lot. Was it still just kind of people weren't going up? Because I feel like down here,
I think people were going. People were going. I think there's a couple of things. I think it's part busy. I was just busy. It's part I got something else. I got to do a couple of things. It's also there's a lot of great stuff you can stream. So I'm like, I can really see. I can pack all the entertainment I need to see right now on streaming services and wait for things to come out on streaming services because there's already stuff on streaming services that I need to see. No,
you're right. I was just curious. I didn't, because we've spoken to so many movie people, and I didn't even think that.
And as a matter of fact, the movie is so good. We'll confirm it when he comes on. But I heard a rumor that Dominic Lewis said that if you're not happy, money back guarantee from him. From him. That's what I heard.
That's a terrible bet to take on anything, just in case.
Well, you know what? Let's take a commercial break and let's bring out our guest, Dominic Lewis. Be right back.
Do you hate yourself and your family, but hate haircuts even more? Introducing the Flowbee Precision haircutting system. Get that freshly sucked hair you've always dreamed of without leaving the house. You can suck your whole family, mom, sister, and watch Uncle Steve suck himself. Looking good, Steve. The Flowbee Precision Home Hair Cutting System. We suck, so you don't have to.
Guys, make sure you go out and get your Flowbee. You won't have to leave the house again for a haircut. Guys, without further ado, staying alive, let's welcome our guest, Dominic Lewis.
What's up, guys?
How you been, my man? It's been a little bit. How you been?
Man, that commercial, I'm like lolling over here. That Flowbee commercial.
They offered me one for my beard. They offered me one for my beard. I had to take them up. Right?
Oh my God, that's made my day. So good.
Well, and you have and a big weekend it's been for you as is. So if that made your day today, then I'm gonna do our job because listen, premiere on Monday. Tomorrow, theaters everywhere, Bullet Train, and we're gonna get into a ton of Bullet Train in a minute. I did want to say one thing, man. Like, I feel like having you on now, Late Night Magic, it's kind of like full circle. I feel like, I first met Dominic a little over a year ago on the audio podcast, and we were talking about Monsters at Work at that point. That was just kind of coming out. And I remember us talking about Bullet Train before you even had a name. I don't even think you gave me the name. I think you were like, I got this Brad Pitt thing that and it was like in the future. And I was like, wow, that would be crazy. I'm like, I'd love to have you back on. And who knows if I would have. And then we did at the other place to talk about the Kingsman project, which was fantastic.
With Matt.
And here we are, full circle, back at our new home, at our and I think it's like our forever house now, right, Rob? Would you say this is our forever home? Right?
I hope so.
I hope so too. The only thing left for me and Dominic to do at this point is for Dominic to score the biopic of me, the Gene FitzMagic biopic, which in fact,
it's a good thing he's done shorts then,
or tragedies. The thing is, I already know I'm going to be playing myself because, as in fact, my wife usually tells me very, very many times a day that I played myself. So that's where I figured I'll play myself.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
As Colin would say. And I already know who's going to play Piano Rob. I have a great actor for Piano Rob, phenomenal actor. I think a little Danny DeVito might be worthy.
Why is Danny DeVito like that's?
Danny DeVito and anything. Danny DeVito might double as my wife in the film. We'll see. Dominic, we do the score.
Now I'm in. Now I'm definitely scoring this.
Danny DeVito in a wig with a Colombian accent. There we go. Right. So
no need for the wig. Just straight up.
And you wonder what? There's going to be no accent. He's going to say it's an accent, but there's no accent.
So, you know what? For people who've missed the previous interviews we've done with Dom, let's give a little recap. Previously on the Dominic Lewis show, give us. We know the story. Me and Piano Rob, but for people that are new to the show, give us a little recap. Getting started, your first big break, stuff like that.
Oh man. Okay. Well, I mean, both my parents are musicians. I'll do this quick because it's boring. So both my parents are musicians. I wanted to be just like my dad, playing cello. And then as I got into like teenage years, I really wanted to kind of be a rock star. That didn't pan out. So I was like, what about film music? And I happened to meet Rupert Gregson-Williams at a very young age, like 15. Of Wonder Woman fame. In case people don't know what he's done tons of other stuff, but that's probably his biggest movie. And then I started working with Rupert as a teenager, and he was helping me out and sort of took me under his wing. And then like it got to the stage where I actually had to get a job. So I was at the Royal Academy of Music. I studied composition, all the while keeping in contact with Rupert. And then it was like I was graduating and I needed to have a job writing film music. So he was like, get yourself out to LA. I put in a good word with Mr. Zimmer. And I came out here. I sold my cello for the flight, came out here on a whim, met Hans. And at that point, it was kind of like Hans was so crazy doing Sherlock and sort of didn't want to be dealing with this like youngling. Like, why are you here? Go away. No, he was just super busy. So it wasn't the right time to meet him. So I just hung out. And then eventually friends came over to hang out with John Powell. And I got invited over for dinner and like drinks and tennis and all sorts of cool stuff. And then eventually we were having dinner and John said to me, oh, Emlyn, who's our mutual friend, says you're great and I should give you a shot at something. So he invited me over on Thanksgiving because he was like, everyone's American and actually celebrating this holiday and I'm English and don't care. So I went over on Thanksgiving and I started writing some stuff on How to Train Your Dragon. And then I didn't fuck it up and I just the ball just kept rolling and I just kept being put on different movies with different composers and eventually got my own stuff. I worked with Henry Jackman for a long time, and still working with John and Hans and all these amazing composers that I was just basically being a sponge and absorbing all their amazing talent and ideas and stuff. And yes, and now I'm sitting here talking to you, having done, I don't know, 10 movies. I don't know how many I've done, but yeah.
Yeah, it's an impressive list.
And a bunch of cool shows. And I remember when we first met, I was so like impressed with the Monsters Inc. work because again, not only is that such a huge franchise in itself, there's the poster for it. You took over the mantle.
That was such a Mike Wazowski thing to do. You put the poster like right over.
Yeah, right over his face. You just
we don't have the thumbnails, so we only have the one, but. What I thought was amazing is not only that being such a big franchise to be part of, but to take over for the incomparable Randy Newman and to fill his shoes so perfectly.
I did not fill them.
You did fill those shoes.
It was like a kid wearing their dad's shoes. It was like
stop it.
I could walk around, but it was clumsy.
It was fantastic, man. It was fantastic.
But Tom, you know what with that? Because when you hear certain composers, and Randy Newman's a great example, you can hear it's Randy Newman. He just has Randy Newman things he does in pretty much all of his compositions. But then I feel like there's other composers, and I think you're one of them. I don't feel a style. It's whatever the project is. you somehow change your style to that project. Like Kingsman is totally different than the Baymax shorts.
Right.
And and if I didn't know it was you, I wouldn't even think it was you on both projects.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's certain elements in there that are me, obviously, but I try to be a chameleon in that sense, and I think that's it's really helpful for my sanity, one, and just to be able, like, I love to be able to do different things. I wouldn't want to be in a position where someone's calling me to go, hey, can you do Dom Lewis? Because I mean, Dom Lewis for me is being able to do exactly what you say, and to mold into whatever the project needs, whether it's a hybrid action thing or a kids thing or whatever it might be, or coming up with something completely different, or writing songs or whatever it is. I love to do everything, and I think while you can hear little nuggets of what I'm about musically and harmonically and melodically, stylistically, you know, 1 minute I'll be doing Monsters, the next minute I'll be doing Bullet Train. So, and I wouldn't want to change that. That's just who I am.
Yeah. Well, you know what I noticed too is I felt like as different as you are in certain projects, I think there are times that you can hear a little similarity, because I know even with some of the stuff from Bullet Train and some of the stuff from Kingsman, there's like that. I feel like there's like when you do like a build up, I feel like it has like a very, like, it's almost, that's kind of like your style is your build up. I feel like is a Dom Lewis build up, you know, in the scoring, and I kind of dug that, and again, but Rob's right. You can go from Monsters at Work to the Kingsman, two totally different sounds altogether, right back to Baymax, another different sound altogether, right back to Bullet Train, another different sound altogether, with little aspects of where you're like, that's a Dom Lewis recording right there. Like you can, you know, there's, you know, it's not where it's over the top, but there's those little subtle pieces that I love. And I think that's where Rob's saying is there's the chameleon aspect, but there's also a signature too. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I would hope so. I think I totally know what Rob's saying. It's like you listen to a Tom Newman score and you're like, that's Tom Newman, or any Newmans basically, or Randy Newman.
Danny Elfman, even like I love Danny Elfman, but you know, it's like, oh, it's Danny Elfman.
Right. I mean, especially early now. I mean, he's sort of doing more hybrid stuff, and it's a little harder to tell because I think he's trying to like switch it up. But yeah, I mean, as I say, I wouldn't want to just be doing one thing. I wouldn't want to be just like, oh, they're calling me for this one project because that's the sound I do. Because I'd get so bored. Like in life, I don't want to. I love truffle ravioli, but I wouldn't want to eat it every day. You know what I mean?
And you're getting called for more projects, I think, because I mean, same thing with when we're talking to the actors. There's the actors that they do one or two things and they have less work, and then there's the actors that do 6 or 7 things and they're branching out everywhere. And it's cool to see you as a composer getting to do those different things because you can.
Yeah, and I think, you know what, it's interesting you say that, because I think I'm at a level in my career where I can switch and do different things, and you know, because I've had some success, you know, like good success with things like Peter Rabbit and the kids stuff, but I think, like, you know, maybe let's say, you know, Bullet Train or my next one hits big, you know, then it might be like, hey, let's call Dom, he does that thing. Yeah, but I don't know yet, because I'm not at that level yet where I've reached the sort of level where you would get called for the thing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So maybe in the future it will be like, oh, hey, Dom, I need you to do your thing you did there. Because I know from speaking to composers and colleagues that's sort of a thing. Like John Powell specifically, his first huge hit was Face Off, right?
Okay.
But it was very much, I'm not sure, but I think Hans produced that score or was involved in it in some way. And the production team and the director kind of wanted like a Hans sound. And because John is amazing, he can do that. And the movie hit big, and he would get calls. We want that face-off sound. We want that face-off sound. And he's told me, he was like, this isn't me, essentially. I can do it, but it's not what I can really bring to the table. So he turned down a lot of stuff that was off the back of Face Off, and kind of had to get that next hit to kind of craft what he wanted to bring to the film music world.
Yeah, so to show he can do something else.
Yeah. And there's nothing better. I feel like it's one of the biggest accomplishments when you can turn your name into a verb. Like when someone calls you up and they say, hey, we got this movie. We need you to Dom Lewis this shit. Like we need you to take this. When you can become a verb, when you're like Dom Lewising a film,
Yeah.
That's when you know, okay, I'm at the top right now. That's how I know I've become a verb, and now I know I'm there. So
I'm not there. I'm not there yet.
Bullet Train might be the one, man.
Maybe. You know what? I'm so proud of it, and I've done a couple of other interviews, and I've just been like, I really don't care. Sounds like aloof, but in terms of it's so special to me and the process of it, and how I got it, and everything I went through during the process in a pandemic, and which we'll talk about, I'm sure. But it doesn't really bother me if I'd love people to love it. And that's great, and but you can't please everybody. So I think in the past I've been like, everyone has to like it, but it's so specific, and it's so my like concept album essentially, that it's so special to me that if you like it, great. If you don't, fine. You're totally entitled. I think I've grown as an artist and a musician, that I'm not expecting everyone to love it. I'm not. I've matured in a sense that I'm like, not everyone's gonna like this. Not. It's very, very few and far between that you get an artist or a composer that everybody just adores. So, and oftentimes some of the great art is hated at first. Look at Stravinsky or Picasso, or people that are like trying to switch it up. I'm not saying
Piano Rob, even
Piano Rob. I mean, exactly.
I'm not appreciated in my own time.
It'll be like,
what I'm saying. It's like it's so special to me, and I'm probably jumping the gun a bit with our conversation, but it's so like I'm so proud of it, and just to gain the relationships I've gained from this project, and to be associated with David Leitch is just a dream come true in the first place. So, hey, whatever happens.
Not many people know it, but I actually auditioned for David Leitch for the Brad Pitt role, and unfortunately, he got it instead of me. So,
well, they missed out.
Their mistake.
Out. Yeah. I think you'd look great in a bucket hat.
I thought I was made for that role. I thought I was made for it. Now I know you've worked on projects with other composers, and then you've done stuff solo. And so, like, even with Kingsman, you worked with Matthew Markison. I know you guys are buddies, so I don't mean it in a sense of are you better without Matthew Markison. I'm saying it. So let me preface my question by saying this: so that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking,
don't do it, Bob. I can see it. Don't do it.
Is there a do you? So it's not like you don't like working with other people, but is there something where it's like when it's just you, there's like a little bit thing where it's like it's just me, it's easier? Or do you find it easier working with other composers? Not saying you don't like these other composers, you don't like to work with them, but just but is it something easier about working solo, or is it easier when you have a partner on a project?
I think no matter what I'm working on, the collaboration aspect, because it's film music as opposed to just music, like I'm either collaborating with someone like Matt, or I'm collaborating with my director. And listen, Matt would say the same thing. Like, we all have our egos. We all want to be the guy in the chair, we want our name in lights, and we don't necessarily want to share it with other people. But when you do, I would love to share the screen with Matt again. You know what I mean? Like, there's certain people that you're okay and that you work great with. But there's an element of like wanting to do it yourself, and Matt would say the same thing. And Bullet Train was one where I got my collaboration with David. He's like, I've never had an experience of such a wonderful collaboration. I mean, it's second to none. The ideas that he would bring to the table, that just and not in a way where he's being specific, just it such a great direction. Like, he would just sort of like fly something out there, and then because we clicked from such an early stage, I knew what he was talking about and I could run with it. But I think it depends on the project. I think, as I said when we talked about Kingsman with Matt, it's like, I don't think we would have got through that project without each other. So it needed both of us. It was just one of those projects that needed two guys, in the trenches. And when the other one was down, we pick them up, and vice versa. But with this one, we all need that project where we can kind of flex our muscles and show what we can do. And I think for anyone doing this, and if anyone tells you otherwise, they're lying. You don't want to be doing co-writes for most of your career, unless you start out that way, or it's your brother, or you know what I mean. Like, there are certain duos that just that's they can only work like that. But if you start out as a soloistic composer, and that's what you're used to, there's no one out there that, John Williams isn't going to tell you that, oh yeah, no, I love working with Alan Silvestri. Like they want to, when you have so strong ideas, and Matt would be the same. He's got amazingly strong creative ideas. You don't want to necessarily share that with other people. You want that's an expression of you. I'm not being very succinct about the way I'm saying this, but ultimately, I think anyone would say that you'd rather do it on your own.
I get that.
Even from an ego point. From an ego.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah,
I get my name up there.
Yeah, I get that. Now, what's your favorite place to record? And where did you record for Bullet Train?
Oh my God, it was the best. So I'm English, right? I've recorded a lot in Abbey Road, Lyndhurst, some of the studios that are now no longer there in London. But this one was like, this was a bucket list for me because I was like, I want to record in Capital B.
Okay.
I want to record in Sunset Sound. I want to record in all these studios that have so much history and like basically make up my whole music catalog. So we because I did a lot of the songs on this film as well. So and the Staying Alive version that's in the trailer, I produced that, and that was kind of for the first thing I did really in terms of recording, and we did that in Capital B. So we set up this whole 70s sound. Not to jump the gun, but that sort of set up the whole concept of the score. My concept being, what if you're around your mate's house and you're flicking through their vinyl collection and you find this like old 70s score or 70s like record that you don't know what it is, you whack it on, you're like, oh, that's really cool. It's got like orchestral craziness, but it's like retro and old. I want to use that as the basis for my next project, right? Only difference being that I had to come up with that record that I found, and that was like my sample for the score. But anyway, so Staying Alive kind of instructed that for me. The way that it was constructed, the way that it was recorded, really kind of helped me get into what I wanted from the recording of my score, and that was to make it kind of 70s. And to try and record it as they would in the 70s, to the point where I was getting the trombones to bring in smaller trombones that they would use in the 70s.
Okay.
Because they've got a bit more of a kind of quacky nasal sound, and it gives you that because it's not a broader frequency. Just little details, Capital B being a vintage studio, vintage desk. The chambers there are amazing. Using session musicians from the 70s and 80s on those songs, like I had Greg Fillinganes and JR and Dean Parks and Reggie Hamilton and just like all these heavies from the 70s and 80s. I mean, Greg was like Michael Jackson's right-hand man. That was another bucket list thing for me. So yeah, I mean, Capitol was a big deal, and everyone there was so lovely and supportive and was just like really trying to help with my goal of creating this retro thing that I would then put a load of production under and make into what was the score. So yeah, and walking into Sunset Sound, man, it's like walking back in time. It's crazy. I sort of expected it, and I'd seen things online, but I'd never been there. And walked into where Prince did all his stuff when he was in LA.
Yeah.
It's got that like 70s brown orange, and you just like, oh, and everything's like, even the sort of microwaves and the fridges, it feels like you've gone back in time. Nothing's changed. The carpets are all like from the 70s and earlier, and the Neve consoles are all like super vintage and amazing. And so that was the goal, really. That was, I wanted to. You don't really get that anywhere else, Even in London, you don't get that in London. Even the stuff. Abbey Road's been updated to a point where you're going for the room, whereas these other studios, man, you've still got these old desks, and you've still got this just history. Like we couldn't get. I really wanted to do stuff in East West where the Beach Boys recorded, but we couldn't get in there. It wasn't available. And United was booked up as well. The Frank Sinatra room, which actually I recorded Baymax in, so it all worked out. But yeah, I mean, so recording was a huge part, and actually a big part of it was just me sitting here with a guitar, riffing and coming up with stuff that I could hear in my head, and that no one else could really kind of get in my head to kind of get what vibe I was going for. So yeah, this is like one of my early interviews, so I'm still like, bleh.
No, it's all good, bro. I loved how you could hear, and Rob, correct me if I'm wrong, you could hear the excitement in that whole part right there where you were talking about working in certain rooms and the history and the fabric of
Yeah.
what's come out of there. It's like walking in a time machine. You can hear that passion. And I listen, keep talking about it, because like I said, you can feel the excitement in your voice. It's like a little kid at Christmas, man. It really, I dig it.
You want. Yeah, that's what you want. That it's not a job. That's the point of this show again. It's about teaching people to go after your passion, whatever that is. And you enjoy it. Look how excited. And no matter how many projects you've done, you always have a reason to be excited about the next project. And that's what's great about it.
Yeah, man. I mean, I could talk to you guys all day about this. So just cut me off.
Well, here let me ask you something randomly fun, because I've wanted to ask you this since I've watched Baymax. In the episode with the guy with the fish allergy, the music gets very opera at that point.
Right.
Are you singing that? Is that your voice? Are you singing the opera
You know
voice?
what? No, but they did threaten to get me to record it, because I stupidly at the beginning of the whole thing I was like, well, I sing, and I've done some opera stuff on some other animated things, and they're like, oh, we should totally get you to redo it. And I was like, no, I think we should probably just go with the license track that's there.
I was curious. I was like, I wonder if Dom did this himself or not.
No, I didn't. I would have done, but I mean, it was all ready to go, and everyone was used to it, and it was all hitting the right point. So I that's something I didn't take care of, but it's great. It's perfect for the episode.
And now it's another thing for a bunch of shorts. There's so many different styles of music depending on what's going on in each scene. It's amazing.
Yeah, that was what kind of drew me to it. Really, is that I had the opportunity to come up. I was tied to Big Hero 6 in a way that it needed to sound of the world, but from a very early stage, I was let free from the kind of thematic material that Henry had come up with. And I was totally on board with doing, using Henry's themes. I was fine with that. But actually, the filmmakers were like, well, no, we kind of want to bring something new to these characters. And each episode had a different character that I could just sort of mold their own little world. And it was so much fun, it was so much fun to do.
And with not the obvious, because obviously there's going to be a big obvious difference between something like Baymax and Bullet Train. So I don't mean the difference between those productions, but as far as the creative, is how you sit down and come up with a project like Baymax and a project like Bullet Train. Is the creative process different? Obviously, the end result is different, but is the creative process even different?
So different, really, really different. Baymax was sort of very usual for me. Like, it was like, come up with my themes on the piano, make sure they're working on a piano, and then take it to the sequencer and start mucking around, and whatever it needed to be, whether it was Cass and it was kind of like a soul thing in a band and whatever, or it was Sophia that had that kind of younger vibe and more kind of synth elements to it, whereas Bullet Train was just this like, just start experimenting. And actually, the first thing I did on Bullet Train was a song. It's the Despedida song for the Bad Bunny character montage in sort of like I guess it's the end of the first act. Okay. So that was the first thing I did, and I was very much in song mode. And because David Leitch is a song guy anyway, like he's a needle drop dude, so my whole approach was different, because I was on a song mode of Dom, you know what I mean, as opposed to a score mode of Dom. So starting with a song really helped me, and then the next thing was me coming up with the Fate material, the more serious stuff for the movie. And that really was like me just experimenting and grabbing instruments and just trying to figure out, like, how do I create that sense of familiarity but push it into a place where it feels new. And listen, we're in 2022, so there's so much stuff out there. There's so much, we've kind of heard everything. So I was kind of going, well, how do I come up with something that obviously is not going to be groundbreaking, because very, very few things are these days, but how do I come up with something that sounds familiar but different? And I just started mixing genres that shouldn't really go together. And I've used this analogy before, but it's sort of like, okay, I'm going to take a filet mignon and like have it with a Coke, Or I mean, it's not a great analogy, but I'm going to take like an amazing pasta dish from Giorgio Baldi's and have it with a Sprite, or the other way around. I'm going to have In-N-Out with a Grand Cru or a Dom Perignon. You know what I mean? So I was mixing things that shouldn't really go together, but every now and again, little things would twig, and I'd be like, "Oh, that's cool." So I've got like a trip hop mix with like a timpani doing the bass line, and just weird combinations that, while they're not groundbreaking themselves, I mean, they're not really groundbreaking anyway, but it's just like, it's that the weirdness of the combination makes you go, "Oh, that's a bit different."
So let me ask you this: how are you then connecting these different genres? Are you doing it with a go-to instrument or a tagline or a melody line that you're like, well, I can use this melody line even though it's a different style?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so melody was really important, and it was something that David and I talked about from the very beginning, that the main melody of the film would take us through every single genre all the way till the end of the movie. So those elements from the Fate Suite would appear in kind of everybody's theme, very not so overt as they are in the main Fate story with the Elder. So there's that element, but there's also just with the recording as well, just having everything recorded in those rooms and having that like concept album concept. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
While they don't necessarily have the same material every time, they're of the same sound world, and you've got little nuggets of thematic and harmonically they're connected in a way. So it was that was the continuity, that was the glue thematically and in sonics and recording, because all the time, like, each character would still have that sample aspect to it, you know what I mean? It would still have that 70s sample aspect to it, but the production and what guitar I was using or what drum kit I was using would form that character, and that made it very easy for me to then meld everything at the end, and also from the script and from early talks with David, I knew that Holding Out for a Hero was what it was going to be, a big action sequence at the end. So that harmonic and the intervallic relationship with the melody, I had to be able to have my theme work with that and it to just be super smooth and moving into the last act. So that also helped me kind of create a journey, if you will, harmonically and melodically. But
I didn't know that song was in the movie. I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, man. It's so crazy.
This used to be a trivia question I ask, and now I'm going to have to add this movie, which is amazing because I love that song, and people usually associate it with a movie. And I would always say there's three really big movies for me that have that song in it. Well, I'm curious if you know. Let's do this. I want to know if Gene knows too. Do you know what they are?
Shrek's one of them.
Shrek 2, the second Shrek movie
I don't know.
I'm gonna blow your mind, maybe.
The other ones I don't know.
Okay, one's really popular, Footloose.
Oh, right.
And the other one for people my age is really
Shakespeare
popular.
in Love.
You know what? If it is, I don't know. If that's not the one I'm thinking of.
No.
But Short Circuit 2. You remember that movie, Short Circuit?
Yeah.
He's bleeding oil at the end, and he's like, I'm really ticked off, and they start playing. And that's my favorite one. My favorite one. I would give out a free drink if anybody knew the three. Nobody, every now and then out of the blue, somebody would know Short Circuit 2.
I love Short Circuit 2 better than Short Circuit. Well, Short Circuit 2 is one in Manhattan, right? With Squiggy from Laverne and Shirley.
Oh God, I don't remember who was who. Don't ask me who the actors are.
I believe I like Short Circuit 2 better than 1, if I remember correctly.
We all do. But that's now I got to add. Now I get to add Bullet Train.
This one is gonna become your favorite.
I'm so excited.
It's so cool, and I kind of like. It was cool because I sort of tease it in the sequence before it happens. So it'd be interesting if people hear, like, I had that little riff, the ding, ding,
yeah.
It's in my score, and I've got like the backing vocals in the background, da, ha, ha, ha. So it'd be really interesting to see if people kind of get that little Easter egg. But it's cool it's always cool to work with material like that, and it just it inspires you to just be better because it's such a great tune.
Yeah. See, and I don't know if people, and I'm glad we're talking about this because you know you're one of the few composers that we get to talk to, and I don't know how many other hosts of shows understand the more specific musical aspects that go into
Right.
things. But the
Yeah.
fact that like that teasing of melodies that. It's like a DJ when they're mixing a song in the sense. It's like to be able to pick out those little things, put it in a way that fits your song. Even if you're watching shows like a Stranger Things where they're working running up that hill into their score or whatever,
Yeah.
like because that was the
Right.
song. That is such a cool little touch, and of course it's very purposeful. And I don't know if people realize the amount of work and thought that goes into that. So it's nice to just take a second to pull that aside, just to note how cool that is.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. And let me tell you this, which is I think is one better. So I'm working away, right? I'm working away on the movie. I came on, which I don't think I said, I came on before they shot a frame. So I was talking, I read the script, I was brought on, and I was constantly interacting with David and Kelly and like just talking about ideas. And the song, the Despedida song was the first thing I wrote. But further down the line, I'm getting dailies, right? And I'm trying to come up with character themes and just away from picture and just from, because the characters jumped off the page to me. They're amazing characters in the first place before these incredible actors brought what they bring to it. So watching daily, just sitting here, watching the screen. And then Tangerine, who's played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, takes a phone call from the White Death, right? And he's got a West Ham United sticker on the back of his phone.
Okay.
That's a soccer club in England, in case you didn't realize. So I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. And then later on, he's got West Ham United socks. Now, bear with me. So the West Ham United anthem, if you will, is "I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles," which is a song I think that became popular in the war. I think it was written just after the war or during the war. Don't quote me on that. So, but the West Ham United fans, they sing it every game. They sing it in the pubs. It's like their anthem. It's to kind of rally everyone together. So I kind of stored that, and I was like, "Oh, that's a really good idea. It might be a bit on the nose, but that's an option if I ever need to go to it, because I was still trying to figure out Lemon and Tangerine's sound." So then, scoring different bits of the movie, and I get to I'm not going to spoil anything, but I get to a very emotional sequence between Lemon and Tangerine towards the end of the movie. And I didn't want to go down that normal route of like, I've got to be emotional film music here. I've got to do the whole string thing and the thing you would expect.
Yes,
I can't tell you what the scene is, but if what you would expect film music to do at that point, I was like, I'm not doing that, because that's not the David Leitch way of doing it. The David Leitch way of doing it would be to do a song, but they're not going to license anything. So I've got to kind of think on my feet.
Okay.
And that's when I was like, this is perfect for "I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles." This is the perfect opportunity to do an emotional version of this. So I did this emotional version. It's like me singing very kind of still and emotional. And then I track myself up and do some harmonies. And there's like a warped guitar that made it kind of cool. Anyway, it's Bubbles on the soundtrack if you listen to the soundtrack.
Okay.
So then I sent it off to David. He's like, "This is amazing. This is great." But I was like, "Oh no." He's like, "But we've got to make it pay off. I've got to work this back into the film in a way that when we get here, it means something." And this is what I'm talking about with the collaboration is just second to none. Because
yeah.
that idea then like became the whole thing. So when we first meet Lemon and Tangerine towards the beginning of the movie, and it's like they're like killing everyone and then sort of looking at cameras and counting how many people they've killed, and it's a really fun sequence. I do this like Vegas 60s go-go version of "I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles," which we got Engelbert Humperdinck to sing on. Which was just like, what? So this one I'm like bucket list every time. So, and then like we'd have a version of the Cockney Rejects, and then even more than that, other than me like weaving it into the score a little bit, there's a story point where you see a flashback of Lemon and Tangerine, and they're watching a West Ham United game on the TV. And like the announcer's going, "Hey, it's West Ham 1, Chelsea." Like, so it was woven into the whole film just from this idea of like that I like scored this sequence with the song, and then it became a whole thing. And then I did an interview with Aaron and Brian, the actors, and Hero and David and Kelly the other day, and I found out that he Aaron would came up with that idea to be for his character to be a West Ham United fan. So he asked for as part of his character's backstory, he'd asked for a West Ham United sticker and asked West Ham to make him West Ham socks.
Wow.
So his little bit of detail I had then picked up on from dailies going, that's a cool little detail. And that turned into a whole musical language of these two characters, which blows my mind.
Yeah, and you can't plan that beforehand, really.
No.
It just has to naturally.
But that gives you a little window into the everyone's creativity on this project and the license in which to do that. Because if you didn't have someone like David at the helm, none of that stuff happens.
Mm-hmm.
It just gives everybody this free reign and swing for the fence, be bold mentality. You can never be too big, and when you are, I'll pull it back. But just go and be bold, and just so cool. And when Aaron was telling that story, I was like, oh my god, this is so that's so cool that wasn't even in the script, that wasn't there, and he just came up with it. And I took it, and Dave took it to the next level, and it's just so cool.
Hearing the creative process with that and how it was like breadcrumbs to get to where you got on it is fantastic, because it just shows you the creative process that really comes with these kinds of things too. Like from a little sticker, then it just grew, and it all started with him saying, "Hey, I want to create a little bit of a backstory for my character," that led to now this scoring in the film. I think is when you really hear the genesis of it, it's really fantastic how it could have maybe not even happened if he was a fan of a different soccer team, right?
Well, I mean, he is a fan of a different soccer team, but that's the thing. That's
even better.
Even better.
Yeah, he was like, West Ham's not my team, but for this character,
that's who it should be.
From the East End. He should support West Ham, and it's just it's so cool that all these little things. And I think the stars aligned. If Aaron wasn't English, and it wasn't an English composer sitting here looking at dailies and
they wouldn't have got it.
That never would have happened.
Yeah,
not in a million years.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like so many things have to align with these breadcrumbs to get to where the finished product is, and I think that's what's cool.
But that's why, one, you got to put the right people on the right project. That's what it's about. And two, any good director, I don't care what you're doing in life. You're opening a restaurant, or you're building a house, or you're making a movie. Your brain's only going to think of XYZ things. You have to be able to delegate and share with other people that have creative minds. That's how you're going to come. That's how you're going to come to the best outcome every single time. I mean, that's amazing.
The trust is so. I mean, it's just so to have the trust from the word go. It was almost like he knew that I had it in me before I did. You know what I mean? In terms of being able to be the musical producer and the composer on this. Just from hearing me talk about my ideas, and I mean, David and Kelly, I'm just beholden to them for this opportunity, because I'm 37 years old, and I don't know if there's, I don't even know if there'll be another one like this in terms of the creative freedom to just get in a room and do whatever you think is,
and that's
right.
part of the game. That's part of that's part of the game. But a good director, it's like the captain of a hockey team or whatever. He's like, I can't take all these shots, but I know I can guide you and show you the shot I need you to take. And I don't know. That's such a fantastic thing to just see how it works out.
Obviously, I have amazing collaborations with other directors, but we didn't get there as quick. You know what I mean? From the moment David came in here, and from the very first Zooms when I was still interviewing for the job, there was just this common ground that we knew it was going to work. After I'd eventually got over the shock of getting the gig, you know what I mean? Just sitting here a week later going, wait a minute, am I doing this David Leitch movie? But just a wonderful dude, and just an amazing collaborator, and just the trust and the freedom he gave me to come up with something weird and wacko and cool.
Yeah, man.
And hearing the actors talk about it as well, because I did this creator to creator thing, and hearing the actors talk about the exact same experience was amazing. Because it's just from the word go with David, it was just everyone's a player. Everyone has a seat at the table, and then he'll listen to any ideas, he'll listen to anything, and he just encourages creativity, which is so awesome if you think about it. So often we're told that here's a blank canvas, and then they're like, okay, we'll use this paint and then paint that there. And do that.
Yes,
you know
yes,
what I mean?
Yeah, and especially with someone so accomplished as David Leitch too, you would think he'd be like, well, I've done this forever, I know what I'm doing, and for someone to be
That's
at that,
why.
and maybe that's
he's
why,
so
for someone to be up at that level and still be like, you know what, I'm bringing you on to do this, I'm trusting you to be able to do this, I know you can do this. That says a lot, because you know there's a lot of people in that aspect that I don't think get that, you know. But I'll tell you one thing: for the Gene FitzMagic biopic, you have free range.
Great.
You come to me with a son. You have full autonomy to make a killer score, man.
We'll see. We'll see. Once we get going, I know you'll be like, wait a minute, can we have this a little bit more?
Yeah, you're right. I might have a little something to say, but I'll tell you what, I'm so excited about Bullet Train.
I hope it's like one single note, like the whole Gene, the whole 2 minute.
It's like,
biopic
yeah. That's what it'll feel like. Ask my wife.
That's
all right, we get the point, Rob. But you know what though? I'll tell you what. When I first heard about the Bullet Train, before I even saw all the common attractions, even in the beginning, I thought, I was like, oh, is this a remake of the old 1975? I don't know if you're ever familiar with the old 75 Bullet Train, the Sonny Chiba vehicle. I thought that's originally what it was, and I'm like, that's weird because Speed is pretty much like that Bullet Train remake, right? Speed was like the same kind of thing, and then I find out it's not. It's this whole different concept, and it's based on this book. And I've never read the book. I'm not a big book reader, but I actually, because something like this, I want to check it out. But I'm not a big novelist. I like reading like self-help books and stuff because I need a lot of help. But
you don't want it to ruin the movie.
Well, not even that. I'm actually one that I'll still watch. If it's good work, if it's good art, I don't mind if I even know the ending. I'm always kind of fine with that. As long as there's the entertainment there, I don't need to see I'm okay with the journey, not the end result, right? But I'll tell you one of the things I'm really excited about. I know a lot of people are probably like Brad Pitt. I'm excited for Brian Tyree Henry, who is, I think he plays so many great roles and so many different roles in different things, from Eternals to this to Atlanta. He plays so many different roles, and you would never. It's like if you didn't see who he was, you wouldn't even know it's the same person. That's how different of a role he could play. I think he's really one of the most undersung actors right now in Hollywood. I feel like he's well known. Don't get me wrong. I feel like he's not well known enough. Like to me, I can't wait to see him.
This will change that.
Yeah, I hope so, because I think he needs to be like one of the A-list actors. I think he's A-list anyway, but I mean, you know what I'm saying though. I think he needs to be. I think he needs even more
recognized
yeah,
stuff. Yeah,
exactly.
He's brilliant in this, and you know, fair play to him. The character was British on the page, and he wanted to keep it that way, and he does a fantastic job. And you know what? Initially, I think that, you know, Tangerine and Lemon. Tangerine was definitely the bigger part, had more to say in the story, and was kind of more of the focus of the twins, essentially, as they're called. But just Brian being Brian brought what he brought and made that character an equal, and then you get this amazing back and forth between the two of them, of which I'm told like so much stuff ended up, there was so much gold that some of it has to be on the cutting room floor, right? So
have you seen the final cut yet?
Me?
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I'm just making sure. I was positive.
What is it? His first day, Rob? Rob's just saying that because we don't let him see the episodes until months later on the show.
The way you just said that was like, well, of course. So like, I was like, oh wait, you don't know what's on the cutting room floor? I thought I missed something for a second.
No, I know. No, I mean,
you know what's on the cutting room floor
before it even gets to me as a turnover.
Okay.
I mean, decisions have been made to put a take in or not. You know what I mean? So
gotcha.
There are takes that exist that I've never seen.
That you've never seen.
David and the editor Elizabeth have just been like, okay, we're not going to use that, or they've tried that, and then it's never ever gotten to me, so I've never seen it. But,
okay.
No, I've seen the movie many times, and you know what? It's a credit to it, because even after like watch 100, I wasn't bored at all. You know, you get to a point in the movie, you're like, oh, I've got to go to the playback. I could really do without not seeing this film again. It's been so massive part of my life. Yeah. But it's just, I hope that's the same for the audience. So if it's on TV, it's one of those ones you just watch it because it's there. Yes. You know, for me, that's Back to the Future. You know, it's just one of those movies that you go, oh, it's on. I've seen it a million times, but I'm gonna watch it because I love it.
That's mine too.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited for a couple of reasons with the movie. Like I said, I'm excited to see the interaction between Brian and Aaron. I would love to see that dynamic. I think they're both fantastic actors.
It's so funny and so great.
And of course, to see my buddy Dominic Lewis's masterpiece score. Those are the two reasons I am so excited. I'll be seeing it this weekend. First time, I was telling Rob before, first time in a theater since pre-COVID. So I'm excited. This is my first time. This will be my first time back.
I don't think I've been in no, that's not true. I've been to the stuff I'm working on right now. I've been to a preview with those preview audience things. But I mean, I don't make a habit of going just because, the masks and whatnot.
Yeah, I haven't either, but this will be my first one back. I feel like even though, it's I mean, listen, is anything ever great anymore? I mean, I think it's, who knows what we're going to live with the rest of our lives, but I know that I feel like this is a theater movie. I don't feel like this is a
it's 100%. You cannot watch
this theater movie. So
I mean, the work and the effort and every little stone has been unturned to make this the best experience in a cinema. You can't, unless you got a home cinema, then don't go. And by that, I mean like rows of chairs and like 7.1 Atmos, just go see it in the cinema because it's such an amazing ride. And it's just this incredible, it's huge, yet it's so confined because obviously you're on a train the whole time, or most of the time. And it's just so brilliantly done. I've bigged this movie up. I've bigged the score up. I've bigged the songs up so much that, I'm destined for a fall. But honestly, I really don't care because I'm so proud of it. I'm so proud to be a part of it. So however it does, I just hope it does well in the sense that original stories can be told again. We don't, I've got full respect for the MCU and the superhero universe.
Yeah.
But just like movies like Nope and movies like Bullet Train that can do well and on an existing IP, will give studios the green light to go, let's give that fresh script a chance.
Yeah, that's a great point. Great point.
A spin-off of something to get it even in the cinema.
Yes.
So that's who cares how it does in terms of box office and whatever. I just want it to do well for the sake of it. It gives a green light and it opens the doors for filmmakers and studios to go, hey, we can do new shit again.
Yes,
watch it.
Sure. Yeah,
it's getting people out. I feel like getting people to go out to a restaurant, out to a movie. It's like we've become. We get deliveries to our house now for free, so it's like nobody wants to. You got to go outside, people. We need to keep stuff alive. Go do.
So we have a game. We haven't had you on in a long time, so we actually have a new game we like to play called Lightning Lane and it's where we're going to ask you 10 rapid fire questions. First answer off the top of your head. You ready to play? It's a tough one.
Wait a minute.
I think you got it though.
Yeah, no, I'm ready. I'm good.
All right, so Patty, roll the clip. Dominic, did you not feel like you were on a bullet train right there with that clip? It felt like Bullet Train.
If Bullet Train was on a racetrack, then yes.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah.
That was longer than Gene's whole biopic. That clip.
I don't know. I think it's roughly about the same length.
Yeah.
Rob, you have a nice spot. You're a major part in this film. Danny DeVito's
I would assume I'm 89% of the 2 minutes of it. I would assume.
Danny DeVito is this might be Oscar worthy for Danny DeVito. I'm just saying.
Please, I want to see it. Danny DeVito plays Piano Rob
and Mrs. FitzMagic. So, all right. So, all right. Here we go. First question: favorite late night snack?
Pão de queijo. It's a Brazilian little cheesy bread thing.
Oh, I know Brazilian cheesy bread. I didn't know. What do they call it?
Pão de queijo. It's like a tapioca ball with cheese in it.
No, I know the thing. I didn't know that's what they call it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. What's the last song you listened to?
Oh, this is terrible. I was probably Staying Alive, to be honest. Because when you follow, I know this is not a lightning question, but when you're doing a movie, you follow all the stuff, and it's just my version of it is on every clip. So I didn't listen to music coming into work today, so it's probably that.
That's great.
Oh, I tell a lie. No, it's not. It's so it's not lightning at all. It's David Gray Babylon.
Great song.
Okay.
Yeah, great song.
Favorite movie? Obviously Bullet Train, but if you gave us another movie besides Bullet Train.
Back to the Future.
That's Rob's favorite movie.
Yeah, we had this. I think we had this conversation last time.
I think we did. It's perfect it's perfect.
And you know what's funny? It's so not perfect because there's so many things they don't explain as I'm older, but that's still perfect to me.
It's part of the charm, right?
It's not perfection in the true sense of the word perfection. It's all the little, things that are wrong with it. All the
it's great.
It's great. It's what
my
movies
favorite.
should be. It's what movies should be.
You're
There you
speaking
go.
my language. I know the answer to this. I don't know why this is even a question. Would you rather go to the movie theater or stream it at home?
Movie theater every time.
Of
There
course.
you go. Favorite vacation spot?
Maui.
Nice.
Do I need to elaborate, or is it like lightning?
You can
If you have a good elaboration, by all
if you
means,
have
do
an
it here.
elaboration, you're allowed.
Napili Bay in Maui. It's like my family's go-to kind of. I've finished a project and I need to just chill for a week. We go there and it's just my happy place.
Nice.
That's a beautiful place. What's your favorite food?
Pizza.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
It's to the point where it's so bad that I can't order it, because if I order it, I'll eat the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm the same
I
way.
don't have
yeah.
that. I don't have it. I don't have that filter where I can go, I won't have that next time.
I'm the same way, man. Even bad pizza. Give me listen, in a pinch, I'll eat
saying.
Ilios. I'll eat bad pizza. Now I know the difference, but
oh man, my wife's like, oh my god, I can't eat bad pizza. I'm like, it's cheese, tomato, and bread. Doesn't matter. Get it in my face.
pizza's one of those things that even when it's bad, it's good. It's like a lot of other things. When they're bad, when they're bad, it's still good.
Gene's body is brought to you by bad pizza. That's the other 11% of the biopic is Gene.
Yes.
Pizza.
Oh yeah. I think actually you're underscoring it. You're undercutting it. It's probably a good. I would say 25% is just me shoving my face with like Italian foods.
I'm not going to underscore it, Gene. We're going to score it. That's what.
There we go. There we go.
Hey.
What is an interest that you have, an interest or a hobby that you have that people would be surprised to hear?
Oh God. I don't know if they'd be surprised. People that know me, I'm obsessed with sports.
That's great. People don't know
I've seen you
here.
at a few Dodger games.
Dodgers, Clippers, Leicester Tigers was my rugby team in England. Fulham Football Club was my football team in England. My sons are obsessed with baseball right now. My oldest, my 7-year-old, is actually really fucking good. So it's
awesome.
great. And I'm a bit of a Tiger dad. So yeah, sports.
Cool. Hell yeah. What's your biggest pet peeve?
Oh, people who miss the light because they're texting.
I'm gonna be honest, that was me yesterday, but I happened to make the light and the person behind me didn't, and I kind of felt guilty.
That's why it's so infuriating. People like you.
Bad. I actually felt bad because I didn't do it on purpose. As a matter of fact, I think I was messaging you. Actually.
You never do it on purpose.
I think I was messaging, or I was reading a text or a message from Dom, where I was writing back. I forget which one it was, but I was looking down and all of a sudden here, and I look up and like there's probably like a distance of like 5 cars all gone now, and it's yellow. I'm like, oh, it's like I skated through real quick, and that guy didn't make it. And I knew I felt like such a jerk that I'm like, I don't want to stop at another light and this guy pull up to me because I'm wrong. This guy should get out of his car and punch me in the nose because I am 100% wrong.
That's my biggest pet peeve. Also linked with the green arrow, when people don't see the green arrow, and then
I hate that.
And the green arrow goes, and you're like, now we're not going to be able to go now. It's just,
for 10 minutes.
Anything driving, really, anything driving linked with like if you go on a narrow street and you let someone through and they don't say, like, they don't acknowledge you, say thank you. Oh my!
Good thing you live in LA where there's plenty of open road.
90% of my pet peeves are all driving related too. I can't stand you ever like stop in a parking lot for someone to go across and they walk? I'm like, just give me the courtesy jog. You don't get any faster with a courtesy jog, but at least pretend like you're trying to get across sooner.
Pretend.
Give me the courtesy jog. That jog will get there any quicker, but it's at least a courtesy. I'm gonna say something. My wife won't let me drive when we go anywhere she has to drive. She's like, I'm not driving with you. I'm driving where we're not going because she doesn't like when I drive because my road rage is my worst. Man. Yeah, I get it. Guys, that's not a pet peeve. It's reality.
Let's be honest. Our pet peeve is just other people. Thanos was right. That was
yes,
actually,
definitely.
I mean, yeah, people. A lot of people are my pet peeve, especially in this country. A lot of people.
I listen. I can get it, man. I get it. I listen, and I apologize for us. I'm sorry.
You're taking responsibility. I appreciate that.
I'll put that one right on the shoulder since I missed that yellow light.
That's a husband right there.
Accountability, man. I like that.
All right. So what else we got? We got okay. What would you be doing if you weren't doing what you do now?
As a job, you mean?
Yeah.
Or just like lying on the couch watching TV?
Or I mean, that could be a job.
No, I couldn't do that. I think I'd be acting, or I would be painting.
Okay, I like that.
Artist
Man.
through and through.
Creating.
At a point, I was really thinking about doing the whole acting thing. My sister's an actress, so she was like, "Don't you dare!" So that sort of warmed me off. And music was kind of my thing anyway. But I really love to paint. Like in lockdown, I had to just be creative. I couldn't get to the studio. I wasn't working that much, so I was just painting the whole time and making stuff. So yeah, anything creative.
That's awesome. Cool,
Yeah,
man.
All right, as someone who has such an amazing accent already, what's the best accent in the world
that I can do? Or
no, that you
which is the one that you hear? Like, is the Brooklyn accent, the Boston accent? Is it a Cockney accent? What's the best accent in the world to you?
Oh man. I love so many. That's so hard. It would be from England. It would either be. Oh man, no, I love the Cockney accent. There's something really awesome about it. But I think the most interesting is either the Irish or the Scouse would be the Liverpudlian accent.
What's the Scouse?
Can you do it? Can you do it?
Scousers like that. They're from Liverpool. They talk like that. All right, mate, how's it going? It's who's a famous Scouser? Killing Eve. What's her name? Jodie Comer.
Okay.
She's also amazing at accents, but when you actually hear her talk, she's like that. All right, yeah. So when we were doing the movie, we were like, she's got a really strong Scouser accent.
Yeah,
so that would be like, it's like fun. It's a fun accent.
I like that.
I love it. So, all right. So we actually have a bonus question we always ask, but I actually have two bonus questions. So I actually have one after this bonus question. First question, best piece of advice you ever received and who gave it to you?
Best piece of advice. My dad, which I actually, I get other people to do it for me now, but he was always like, you are a musician, never be embarrassed about knowing your worth and asking for the right money.
Hell yeah.
You can only ever be told no, and if you don't ask, you don't get. So he was always like, I mean, he knew I was going to go into the arts, and so he was just sort of going like, you're going to need to hustle basically to get paid for the shit you're doing. Because people will think you're just doing it for a hobby, and they're giving you an opportunity to show your music or whatever. So he was always like, no, you got to be upfront, say what you think you're worth, and then it becomes a bartering thing and a haggle, but always like go in strong.
Dude,
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, because that, as a musician, I can't tell you how much that speaks to me, especially for those of us, we still play out, and I still do bar shows and stuff like that. And how many bar owners, I'll hear the story like, well, we're going to give you exposure. Like you get exposed. What exposure is your bar going to give me? If you're going to be in the arts, you put the work in, and if you're good and put that work in, go get paid for your work. Don't just give it up for nothing.
And it's infuriating because you wouldn't do it with any other job. And for some reason, the arts always get the money cull. It's like, when you were in lockdown and you had nothing else to do, what were you doing? You were watching Netflix, you were listening to music, and you were experiencing the work of artists to entertain you. So we are doing a job that's worth being paid for. Turns out I'm really shit at like haggling. And I'm always like, yeah, no, I'll do it. So that's why I have a business manager now to take care of all that stuff for me. But
there you go.
It was.
I'm the same way. You don't want to say no.
Good advice.
Yeah, and we don't want to say no. We feel like we feel when we're very good artists, we feel obligated to people who want our art, and sometimes we're willing to give it up for less because we're so appreciative that somebody cares. And same thing, a lot of my fan base was built over the pandemic because I did a live stream every night. We did live requests, kind of like this, but it was me and everybody was typing and the people, it was funny when the pandemic ended because I have people that are so loyal to me, and I'm thank you to all of you that watch this show and everything else. But then there's so many people, it's like, they blogged about you, they did whatever because they had nothing to blog about, and then boom, we're gone now. We used you as our piece to get ahead, and that was it. So there's it's that balance of finding the loyalty.
Yeah, I get that. Now, last question. I have a quick question.
Okay.
Is pimping easy? Would you say it's easy, pimping? I love. Can I tell you something? How the BMI Awards? Fantastic suit.
Fire, dude. That jacket.
It is. Look, I could never pull. You know what? I could never pull that off. You know how bad I would love to be able to pull off that jacket.
Anyone, it's just confidence, Gene. You can pull it off. It doesn't matter what you wear.
Oh, you got it, dude. You got it. The only thing you miss right there is a cane. You need a cane with that suit, bro.
Dude, you should see what I wore for the Bullet Train premiere.
Oh, I can't wait.
It's like next level, dude.
Oh man, that's
Dominic.
It's my only chance to peacock. You know what I mean? Like,
there
I'm
you
in
go.
this
Yeah,
I would do it too.
I'm in
you
this
get to do
24/7, and I wear sweats most. I only put a shirt on for you guys. I'm normally just in a t-shirt and sweats, you know. So it's like when you're on the red carpet and you're doing stuff like that, it's nice to dress up. You know, it's nice.
You know what's funny? There was one you'll probably remember it. There was a video you put up of yourself singing at home somewhere over the last couple of months, and it was only from like here up. And Dom didn't even have a shirt on, and he sang this thing beautifully. Yeah. And I commented on it. I wrote, wow, you did so amazing. You blew your clothes off.
Yeah, you know, I often just, especially like when my kids are at school, my wife takes the kids to school, and the house is free, and I don't really play the piano that much at home, so I'm either in my dressing gown or, you know, in my PJs, and I just like sit at the piano and sing, and being an attention seeker. I put it on fucking Instagram.
Yeah.
Wait, whatever works, right?
Felt cute, might delete later, you know? Like...
Yeah, right. Sorry, not sorry, you know, that stuff.
Dominic, good luck with tomorrow. It comes out tomorrow, theaters everywhere. Good luck with Bullet Train, man. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on today. And, I know it's a busy week for you too, so thank you so much. And I'm excited for this film. It's gonna be the first one I go to see in a long, long time. So I'm excited for it, man. I can't wait. And I can't wait to tell you. I'm hoping on Monday I'm hitting you with a message saying bravo. And I'm sure I will. I'm sure. If it's not, I'll tell you bravo anyway. But
he already has it. Send this. He has Siri.
It's already ready to go. I've got the bubbles in my Gene little thing already. It's already ready to go. No, you're always so supportive. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you both. And this is such a great show. So thank you so much. Thank you
for as well. Always so gracious with your time with us, and even like just even me from before, even all this when it was just an audio podcast, man. You've always been, when I was like super. I mean, I'm unknown now, but even when I was even more unknown, if this can happen, dude, you always took time to treat me like I was a must-do interview, and I appreciate that, man. That you were always so awesome with us. So
my
thank
pleasure.
you so much.
And I can't wait for the biopic.
Well, listen, I'll give you the script first, so you can start working on ideas for the score.
Sweet.
And then we'll get into then we'll get you the dailies. Well, that's
sweet. Cannot wait.
I can't either. Guys, we're gonna wrap up. We're gonna take a short first break. We're gonna wrap up. Dom, thank you so much, man. Guys, go see the film. Hit theaters tomorrow, August 5th, everywhere. Go see it. Bullet Train. Let's take a short break.
I need a hero. Holding up on a hero till the end of the night.
Cute. Oh, Winnie the Cute. Rawr, Jurassic Cute. You're not trash. You're cute. This is Sammy. Sammy loves Disney ears. She loves ears so much, she makes her own. Yeah, 3D ears. Want to see her do it? Let's check it out. Here she's making bows. Here she also makes ears. And sometimes she makes ears with bows. Any kind you want. People have been seeing her with her ears and they're saying, hey, can I get me some ears? Pow, yeah, you can. Here you go. Now Sammy's making ears for any occasions. Ears for dogs, ears for spooky stuff, you name it. Ears for any occasion. And it's all happening at JSA Creations. JSA Creations. Just ask for Sammy.
I gotta say, one of my favorite guests, if not my favorite guest that we've had on, and every time we get to know a little bit more, and dude, answers are always fantastic, man. He always takes you on a nice journey with.
Well, and you know what, I was always a fan of the music and the scoring, but I'm truly a fan of Dom Lewis, the person. He's a great dude, and there's a lot of good tidbits of knowledge and just funny stories. It's great. Great.
Yeah, no, fantastic guest. Always super humble and super just pleasant, and always. I'll tell you what, like one of the things I always love is when we have an artist or an actor or whoever is our guest, and they make us feel like as important as I feel. They make us feel like they're on Fallon, and he's one of those people that's always so gracious with his time that he makes us feel like we're like big timing, right? And
maybe they think we're that big, Gene. Stop telling. Don't let them know into the secret.
Don't let them know we're not.
They
right?
don't know.
But I'm just saying, man. I it's very gracious, and I appreciate that. And he's always been awesome with his time that he's always allotted for us. So and again, the work speaks for itself, man. I don't even got to speak for his work. His work will speak for itself. Go see Bullet Train tomorrow. It's comes out theaters everywhere. Good. If you haven't been back to the theaters like myself, it's a good reason to go back, man. I'm excited to go see it. It's got a lot of elements that you would love, man. The music's going to be fantastic.
Great
the acting's
cast
fantastic.
too. I know,
and great cast.
We didn't even have to go crazy into the cast because there's so many other things, but they got the cast to back it up as well. So
yes,
what has Sandra Bullock been in that you're not like Sandra Bullock's fantastic?
I think you're thinking of Up. I mean, Speed.
Speed. Oh God, no, I didn't mean that. I meant. I'm losing my mind.
No, Brad Pitt.
Wait, what
Tyree
are you talking
Henry.
about?
What?
Now you're messing with my brain.
I
could swear she was
messing
in it
with
too.
my brain. No, but listen, guys, let's give a couple of thank yous out, man. Let's give me some thank you music, right? Let's
like thank you notes.
Yeah, like thank you notes. Let's thank the mods for keeping the chat fun, friendly, safe. Let's thank producer Patty Puddles for doing an okay job today. Let's thank the chat for coming in and hanging out with us tonight. Let's also thank our subscribers, man. You know what? We're close to 1,000, man. You guys, we've grown a lot in the last few weeks, and we owe it a lot to you guys. We're gonna keep giving you guys the best content we can. Just keep supporting. We love it. And let's also thank the guest of the hour, man, Dominic Lewis. Fantastic movie, comes out tomorrow. Make sure you guys go see it. And that's about it, my man. Go check out Piano Rob on Facebook if you want to find out when and where he's playing when you come to town over there in Central Florida. You'll find out where he's playing, whether it be at the Boathouse, wherever he's at. Facebook's the place to go check it out. Also, make sure you go check out Piano Rob on his Reels and on his TikToks. Always got some really funny stuff. And we thank Rob for his fantastic TikToks and Reels. We thank you, Rob.
You're welcome.
With that, guys, have a great today, a better tomorrow, and we will see you next time.
And Gene, Sandra Bullock is totally in Bullet Train, so I don't know why you're making me feel like I'm nuts.
I didn't realize she was.
Of course, she's the leading lady in the movie. You're making me feel like I'm nuts, Gene, like I didn't do my homework properly, Gene.
Because we were talking about Speed before, and it threw me off. But guys, go check it out. You threw me off, Rob. So anyway, yeah, have a great today, a better tomorrow. We will see you next time.
Where have all the good men gone, and where are all the time?